Hey everybody, Matt here with Take Roads Let's Travel, and today we are working on a 2016 Scion IA. We're doing the front brakes, we're doing pads and rotors. It's a very simple job. It's a really small car, so parts are light and easy to remove. Here with Amory, he's helping me out. What's up? His girlfriend's the one who owns the car, and we're gonna take care of it. First things first, jack up the car and support it with jack stands underneath the rear of the front subframe cross member. And safety first, you want to make sure that's done. Chock your rear wheel. And now we're going to get right into our brakes. We're going to start with your caliper bolts, which are 13 mils. I've already loosened them up. You got one right down here at the bottom of the caliper, one right here. I'm going to pull those out and get this caliper off using a screwdriver to just get in between here and pry that out and then pull it straight off. And then we'll get to the caliper bracket so we can get the rotor off. All right, so now that we have that caliper off, we're gonna open up our brake fluid reservoir. The reason for this is because we have to compress the caliper piston in. This has got to go back in order for the pads to seat on top of the new rotor. And when we press that in, it forces brake fluid back through the lines. Well, if you don't open that cap, you could risk bursting a line. So we're gonna take care of that by opening that cap, and it makes it so that you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about air getting into the system or anything through that because it won't seep down through the fluid. You'll be okay there. So now that that's done, we are going to move that out of the way. And now we have our pads here, and we're just gonna take and pull these off just like that. And we'll actually use one of these, to compress this piston in by just taking and pressing it right there. And we'll take a C-clamp, put it on here, compress it in. They have a caliper compression tool that you can get. I just found a C-clamp works really well. So, like I said, C-clamp, you can see I've got it on one side of the caliper, and then on that pad where the pad surface itself is not up against the piston. The back of it is up against the piston just like it normally would be. And we're just gonna tighten the C-clamp in until that compresses in nice and flat. This is a great time for you to be able to check and make sure that there's no tears in the boot or anything like that. If you have any type of trouble getting that piston to sink in, you can put a little like WD-40 on there, see if it'll loosen it up at all. But usually that's a sign that your caliper is starting to go bad. Because that piston seal is starting to stick and that piston isn't sliding smoothly like it should. So be aware of that. If it goes in nice and smooth, you're good to go. All right, so I recorded this after doing it already. Your caliper bracket bolts, they're 17 mil, and you got one sitting right here and then right below it. Once you pull those out, it comes right out, nice and easy. All right, now that we have the new rotor put on, caliper bracket put on, we have the bolts in place. We're gonna torque these bolts to 79 foot-pounds. Please don't do German torque on these, all right? Just get a torque wrench, do it right, make sure you do it properly. All right, grease up your shims once you have your new ones in. And now we're gonna put the pads in. Don't forget you got your wear sensor down here and you've got your tensioners in your shims. Pads are gonna go in between all of that. Should go in nice and smoothly. There we go. Just like that.
Like a glove.
Make sure you have grease on the back of your pads. All you're gonna do is just do a little bit on there, schmoop it on, spread it around.
Schmoop.
And that's it. You're gonna do the same thing, put it on, and then we'll be able to get the caliper put back on since we've already compressed it with the bolts, and we'll get to that once these pads are on.
Cool.
Thank you, sir. All right, pads are on. Caliper is literally just gonna slide over top of them. Make sure it lines up over those guide pins. And you got your 13mm bolts. These are gonna get torqued to 25 foot-pounds. Again, that is not a lot. These are also not a very strong bolt. So if you decide to go really, really tight on them, you're gonna destroy it. You're gonna kill the threads. You might snap a bolt. And then you're buying either a new caliper or you're drilling them out. You know, your choice really. So make sure you have a torque wrench. Don't guess at it. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side as we just did on here. That's your front brakes until we get ready to put the tires and wheels on.
What was the torque for this again?
25 foot-pounds for your caliper bolts.
Cool.
Come on. Is that a 14? That's a 14, not a 13. My mistake. Let me grab a 14. All right, last but not least, put the wheel on, get the lugs on, and we're gonna tighten those to 76 foot-pounds and then lower the car down. And that is how you do the front brakes. Oh, and put your reservoir cap back on. And that is how we do the brakes on a 2016 Scion IA.